Hello and welcome to the tutorial for Memories of Celceta any percent easy. I'm Zellnuu. I'm recording this because the tutorial for this has been out of date for a long time with lots of new skips and tricks found, and I figured it's actually a fairly simple run and short and people might want to learn, but there hasn't been a tutorial in a while, so I'm just making one now. Before we get started, there's a few things I want to cover sort of in a preface. I'm doing this is take 2, but I'm doing it in one take. If there's small mistakes or skip names wrong, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do this way because this is how I think is the best way to do a tutorial for this game, and I wanted to do this kind of quickly and not spend 20 hours editing. I'm gonna try to put little chunks at the bottom. I don't know what it's called on YouTube for easy navigation, especially for the tricks. And the other thing I want to mention before we get going, two things. I'm playing this on a PlayStation 4 controller. I will be using PlayStation 4 controller button names. I will be saying X and circle and square. If you want to run this on a different controller, this is a PC game. It supports, I don't know what it supports natively, but I do know Steam itself supports Xbox controllers, Switch controllers, Wii U controller. Most third-party controllers you're probably fine to use. So, the other thing is, on the launcher settings, I took a screenshot of my settings and underlined what is important. So, frame rate, higher frame rate affects a few tricks, but it just in general makes the game run smoother and makes movement easier, and just in general, it's faster. Not 1-to-1, but so we've capped it at 120. For the purposes of the run, because there isn't unlimited, but we don't want a hardware to affect the run too much. If your computer can't run it at 120, if it's below 120, that's also fine. Skip all videos. It skips all the cutscenes. It skips all the cutscenes, not the cutscenes, as you'll see. I don't actually know what that affects the run at this point, but it's auto-skipping cutscenes. And high-speed fast-forwarding. That is the most important of these, because it allows you to fast-forward through dialogue. And what would be considered cutscenes, not like FMV cutscenes. That is by default mapped to R2. And or right trigger, and very important. So I'm going to close this now. You will also see I have mouse on the video. There's a few things that I use the mouse for, and other runners do as well. So I have the mouse being recorded for the purpose of this video. So we're going to get started, and I also want to reiterate this for any percent easy. So not Nightmare, which does have a different run. There's because of the difficulty, you do actually have a completely different route. Not completely different, but there's changes. And this is with all the tricks. So just any percent. So we're gonna get started. That's when time would start, and we're gonna hold right trigger to get just the cutscene fast forward. And then text mashing, I'm gonna mash circle and square, which is confirm and cancel. I'm actually not sure if maybe holding one and mashing the other would be faster. Again, I'm preferencing this as this won't be optimal. This is a tutorial. There's definitely things I'm not doing optimally. and I'm gonna forget things. So, before we finally get going, and this is what I needed to do the second take, there's a few important controls. So, the control config, you have 3 gamepad settings and 3 keyboard settings, which allows you, you can set up the controls however you like. I'm more or less. You don't need to follow exactly what I do. I know saying that sounds obvious, but I want to make it very clear. These are just the controls I have. I have some weird stuff. Do what feels comfortable. But what's important is that because you can map the same action on 3 things, you can map the same action or multiple actions to the same button as well. So what's really important is you want to have a keybind. I have L3, which is accept and camp menu. Is vital that you have that keybind. And also, less important, but very good for some tricks, dodge and roll and switch. It could be switch back as well, actually, but you also want that to be 1 keybind. Anything else, the other thing, and I forget how I have it set up here. It's right here. You want 1 dodge/roll input that is not mapped to anything else. Or more specifically, not mapped to accept or cancel. There's a reason for that, and I will be explaining. But that is sort of the key setup for configuration. I will show you what I have, but you don't need to map this. I know some people also cancel and roll are by default on the same, and some runners do change that. There is one other thing. There's one other setting, I forgot where it is. Is it an option? No. This is me remembering something at the point of, there it is. Two things. At the point of recording, just remember this. Skill finish display should be off. That means you won't get a cutscene when you finish an enemy with the skill. And simulflash should be enabled. I'm actually not sure how important that is with the current route, but that has been this used to be really important, and it's been enabled. And it's important for combat. So I'm just gonna say turn it on, and if I'm wrong about that, I'm sorry, and I might add a thing to this video. So we're gonna get started on the actual movement. So left stick to move, circle to roll. Fastest sort of movement at this point is just rolling. I'm also maybe not going to explain everything that's happening. There's an element of, hey, follow what I'm doing route-wise, and I'm going to try to explain as best I can. So we come up, we touch the cutscene, fast forward, touch the memory to get the cutscene, fast forward, and keep going. This is all sort of standard play from the beginning. And again, I'll kind of talk about rolling more once we get going. So, gonna roll up here, equip the sword we just got, and go up to the first combat tutorial. In this fight, you want to try to hit this guy. I already screwed it up. Hit that guy kind of into the second mole. So when you learn the skill, when you learn a skill, you always learn a skill when you beat the first mole, you then will automatically use it, and you want to time the position so you hit it. So, you learn the skill, you want to equip it. Rising Slash will be our main sword of damage for most of this run, honestly. I'm equipping it to X because that's my attack button, and that makes it easier to use. You don't need to follow that exactly, and if your attack button is not X, you might want it on a different spot. So, again, you have sort of a 4-hit combo. And I'm just gonna display this a bit. So you have kind of a 4-hit combo, but you do more damage using the skill, which by default is right trigger, left trigger. I have left trigger X. Wow, I'm thinking about things that are normally muscle memory. Sorry. And for optimal SP usage, it's 3 attacks, rising edge, 3 attacks, rising edge. For more damage, you do less attacks and more rising edges, but that will use your SP more, so you'll run out. So, coming up on what is another tutorial fight, you want to roll up with Adol, start attacking these, Durin will attack the others, and when the second one gets low on health, switch and finish them off. That was actually really good. Enemies at the top are weak to Adol, enemies at the bottom are weak to Durin. This is literally the only fight in the run where that comes up. There's one boss where it kind of comes up, but it's not the same, the damage types. So I'm not going to worry about that too much. Now, we're on Durin, and I'm going to kind of talk about rolling. So, rolling is sort of a rhythm. You can't just mash. If you mash too fast, actually, if you mash too fast, you sometimes drop them. And I was actually getting good rhythm there, just mashing. And characters do roll at different speeds. It's not a huge deal. I forget exactly how much faster, but Durin is faster than Adol with rolling. So for most of our movement with run, we're going to be using Durin. So now we roll up here. Come on to our next fight. Want to switch back to Adol. I didn't mean to do that. So, there's an autosave. There's an autosave. Okay. We're going to do that right. So, scuff tutorial. I'm sorry. That was not the fight. That was them respawning. Hey, I'm going to load and not get that extra experience. Just in case it affects something. So, you want to switch to Adol, start hitting the big wall, try to kill him before he digs. And as you will see, that was slower, and then kill the moles as they come up. That was slower than the other fight. I'm sorry for the scuff. But anyway, just more movement. You can kind of dash in the water, same as rolling. Very similar concept. Now we're coming up to what is the first skip. I'm sorry, I'm kind of in weird marathon mode as well. After this cutscene, we have a gate. We're supposed to go to the top right and get the key. But if you hold up here, so you touch the gate, go to the memory menu, play any memory, we will clip through the gate. So what this is doing is, if you see, Durin is there, and Durin is where he is, and we are playing as Durin, and Adol is is down right of him. When you play a memory, it resets the character position based off your lead character position. We're playing as Durin. Our first party member, who's Adol, will go to the top left of where Durin is, and when we have a second party member, they will go to the top right. This is also used in a few other cases, but just Fast forward to the cutscene, and now you will see Adol's on the other side of the gate. We have skipped the gate. You just switch to him now, using the switch control. And then you switch back to Durin for faster movement. I guess I also didn't go over this. I'm kind of just explaining, like, you know what the controls are. I used R1 to switch there, or L1 by default. Again, I feel like I'm underqualified, but I also know well enough about this game to do it. So I'm just gonna keep going. Now up here we come to our first boss. Cutscene, and what you want to do: run up, start hitting him, and every time he attacks, flash guard. Flash guards are when you press the block button right before an attack hits you. On easy, the window is very large. It gives you a damage buff and builds some SP. And what we're doing is we're building our meter in the top right. Once that meter gets full, I paused right before. The boss will become more vulnerable, and then we will use our extra skill, which I have set to L2 and R2. That was what I accidentally did against the moles, and why I was kind of panicking, because I'm like, you want it for this fight. So once I unpause, the boss is going to attack. I will hopefully flash guard it, attack, and then do the extra skill. I did that a little early. You normally want to do the extra skill once the boss is vulnerable, but that was only one extra hit, so it's fine. A little bit of wasted damage. Then you just finish the boss off, and we're good. Switch back to Durin. And we now continue the game as intended. This will very quickly change. So far the game has been mostly, or the run has been mostly just playing the game. We're just going through the motions. We just got the ability to warp. We use the pillar at the boss to warp back to the start of the mine. And now we're rolling. Very soon, we will get into what is the meat of the any percent. So, again, just going through the motions, moving quickly, skipping all the cutscenes, and gonna make a safety save. As I explain the map, the most broken thing in the run, what makes this run broken. So, whenever you open the map, when you're in the menu, it advances. I don't know if it's exactly one frame, but it advances the game while you're still in a menu. That will be used to break things. So, at the start, I mentioned you want a keybind, that is, talk to an NPC and bring up the menu. Because if you press the menu, and if you, without that keybind, press the talk and open menu on the same frame, it will bring up the dialogue and bring you in the menu. So right now, I have the dialogue queued up, see? But I was in the menu. Now we can combine that by opening the map. I now have the text on screen while I'm in a menu. And this is going to break this game. By default, if you press R1 and hold it, it hides the text. The text is still there, it's just hidden. So, yep. Now, you saw there whoops. I opened the map once. Now, if you open the map, and I couldn't move, I was still talking with the NPC. Now, if you open the map twice after doing this, and then close the menu, I'm walking around, I have the text on screen, I can complete it. Now, I did some weird things because that was kind of a good example. when you have that text on screen and you cross cutscene, when you have that text on screen, no cutscenes will trigger. But when you go over a cutscene trigger and then drop the text by completing it, it will play the cutscene, whether that cutscene trigger was supposed to be active or not. I'm trying to explain this as best I understand it. It's probably more technical. So, I don't really know how to demonstrate this beyond just going through the run. So, what you want to do, there might be a better NPC to talk to, but... So you talk to the guy, open the map, hide the text, open the map again, close the menu. Now we're going to go up here. We are skipping cutscenes at this point. There's supposed to be cutscenes playing. We're going to come over here, come back up here, and close the text. And this will play a cutscene that is supposed to play after you've finished 2 dungeons. The second and third dungeon of the game. This is really hard to explain on the fly. So a bunch of stuff just happened. We just played a cutscene that's not supposed to happen until 2 other dungeons where Karna is supposed to rejoin your party. And now our party is Adel and Karna, one of the other characters who is only supposed to join at level... who's not supposed to join at level 1 and supposed to join at a different point. Now, the kind of state of the game is different, and we want Durin back because of his faster movement. So we go up to this NPC, because he has smaller dialogue blocks. Again, open the map, close it, hide the text, close it. We are again moving around with text. We're gonna come over here, drop the text completely. So it is now gone. I'm not hiding it. Go up the stairs, and that same cutscene will play again. Now that we've done this, we are in a state. Again, I don't know why this happens once you do it twice. But now we have Durin back. We are at the point of the story. The game thinks we've completed dungeons 1, 2, and 3. We've only completed dungeon 1. We have Karna in our party, which is important. And now again, we bring up this, close the map, open, close, so we can move with text on the screen. I'm hiding it. And we leave. We are now going to move on to the next point of the run. At this point, it's all movement. And as I was kind of talking, this is optimal. So what is actually happening in the background is I have text hidden. Sorry. And there's supposed to be a bunch of tutorials as you come through here. Karna's also not supposed to be in your party. That is the orange shirt. I'm sorry for just saying the character names. There is some element of there's some element of this is sort of being made as if you've played this game before, or you can pick up the context. I hope anyone can. If you haven't played East Memories of Celceta and you still want to learn the run, I'm not going to say not, but... So this is all just straight movement. We are just moving to the next objective. But, yeah. If I don't explain something well enough, I am sorry. I'm just going to say character names. That's kind of the issue. I kind of realized I was going. But... yeah, this is just movement. If, you want to skip ahead, because you know we are going to the Beast King's... Beast King's Den? That is not what the area is called. I did not necessarily want to hit that. It's not a problem. But we are going to the third dungeon through this Lost Woods. So this Lost Woods sort of area It's the same every time, but you want to go where the flowers are. So it is right, and I really hope I don't forget it. Right, up, up, left, down, and then right. But you have to make the swing to the left. And again, I'm reiterating, I am holding the text. I'm still holding that hide text button. If I can bring it back up and switch just to show that I still had it up. The hide text button is the same as the switch character for me, so that's why I was switching as I showed that. And that skipped all the dialogue that's supposed to happen, all the dialogue and cutscenes that's supposed to happen as you go through that Lost Woods. We don't get hit by the monsters. Again, we're kind of in a weird story state. The game thinks we've beaten dungeons 1, 2, and 3, but also thinks we've only beaten dungeon 1. So some story things will still happen from before. And we need this text to be hidden because as we... I was gonna say as we get into Dungeon 2, the Ancient Burrow, the fight at the beginning would start, but I don't think it actually would. But this also allows us to... any of the sort of dialogue that's supposed to be saying like, hey, you can't go this way, check out the village, is being skipped. So it is important that, as we're coming up to the Ancient Burrow, we need to hit this warp at the start. Then we're going to switch to Karna. Hit the throw knife, the ability the game doesn't think we actually have yet, but because we're in this sort of state with the text on screen, it will allow us to do. And then close the dialogue. And now it has given us this ability that we're really not supposed to have. And we've gotten into the Ancient Burrow. All of this, at this point, you might be asking like, hey, you've already completed, as far as the game's concerned, Dungeons 2 and 3, why are you going into the Ancient Burrow? We still need the item from this dungeon. We don't need to complete it. You will see that we are just kind of moving through. Again, rolling with Durin because he is quicker. Avoiding all the enemies. Karna was way far back. You want to make sure you are far enough away from the bees/wasps that they don't interrupt you using her ability. Because if she is too close to an enemy, it won't let you use it. It's very annoying. It's a very easy way to lose a lot of time. But at this point, again, we're just doing good movement. We're just clearing. I am sorry if I just kind of realized where my controller is. I tried to have a noise gate, but if the controller is getting picked up. It's the same thing here. We're going to go down this hill and then up and hope the bees and wasps are not too close. You kind of... So what I'm doing is you can... you can set teammates to be on active or passive. And I only found out this recently. I forget if it's active or passive. Attack focus or evasion focus. And if they're on evasion focus, they stand closer to you. Which I actually don't want. I'm actually staying on attack because I'm trying to bait the bees and wasps into attacking the teammates so Karna can run and just do the ability. So, big trick. Number 2, using the same principles. I'm going to try to explain this as I go through it. So, the boss trigger is sort of here. Okay. I need to collect my thoughts. There's a lot going on here. This is a big trick. So the boss trigger is sort of here. So what we want to do is swap. So I have the swap and roll keybind. You want to do that onto the boss trigger, because a character that is not your active character cannot activate the trigger. So we're going to do that. Now, we're in the menu, and hopefully Durin is on the boss trigger. We're going to switch to him, so now he's active. So if I were to drop the menu, it would start the boss. I'm going to play a memory. Open the map, and if you did that right, it will black out like that. So it has started the boss. You can hear the boss music. I'm actually going to have to restart and load that save to do this, because you are on a time limit now that the boss is started. So, in short, you have this. I have a keybind to swap and roll at the same time. You don't need to use the keybind necessarily. Get your other character onto the boss trigger, swap back to them, play a memory to start the boss, open the map twice. If it worked, you will get that sort of black screen on the map. Roll through while the boss is spawning, and now hit your accept and menu keybind on the chest to open it, and play a memory. Now, we are in a super weird state where the game thinks we were in a flashback. So when you bring up the menu, it brings up this menu and not the normal menu. But if you open the memories menu, game goes back to normal. And we're here. We have the item that we need. And we got past the boss. So I'm going to demonstrate this one more time quickly while I explain it, because there's a lot going on. Walk in, swap, and roll. Switch to the character, play a memory, open the map twice. If it goes black, you got it correctly. Roll while the boss is spawning. That's why Durin's sort of rolling. Camera will get weird. Press your keybind for accept and open the menu at the same time. Play a memory. And then press start again to open the menu and go to the memories menu. And that's the trick. Now, we're on the other side. We could use the dwarf bracelet to just leave, but it is faster to warp out. So we want to go here. We're now in the boss room on the other side. The boss only has a trigger on the front. So don't press the stick. I believe it's 7. That's this weird mouse memory. So you roll 7 times. And now, same thing. Roll and swap keybind. Durin's on the boss trigger. Play the memory. Map twice. Leave. We don't have to open a chest, so we just play a memory. Memory menu. And now, that's the trick. We've got the dwarf bracelet without fighting the bee. If I bring up my thing, there we go. So now we don't need this we don't need to be here anymore. So we warp it. I'm saying we. That's kind of weird. We warp out. And now we're going to move on to the underground cavern. All that going around through the forest to all of that was just to all that going around the whole area through the Lost Woods was to get dwarf bracelet. Lower the drawbridge. This is just the fastest way. And we're going to the I think it's called the Misty Mountain? Misty Peak. Another Lost Woods type area. This one works as you want to go downhill. So you actually want to go uphill first and then down, because that is quicker than just going correct. Play the cutscene. Skip the cutscene here of the characters who are not talking. And now you just, again, good movement. Take the path that is always downhill. It is the same every time. So this is something you just practice and learn. And we are on to this camp. Now we're going to activate the camp like normal. There's no tricks being done here. This kind of resets where we are and gives us... The game's still in a weird state because it's both after and before the dungeon that's supposed to be here. So you just want to activate that. Now, go up to this guy. I'm going to make it safety. Because he has a short dialogue. Hit your keybind that has both talk and menu. Open the map twice. Hide the dialogue. I'm going to explain it every time, but it's just muscle memory. And now we have just some more good movement. There's a little bit of a trick in the movement coming up here. I hope I get it correct. Where rolling is quicker than swimming, so you want to come up here and get on these rocks and roll across. I kind of did it. And now we're going to open this door with the puzzle. I go X circle X to make sure I actually get it. And that will let us open the door, despite the fact we haven't done the dungeons. And you skip all this. Quickest puzzle solution is just do the 4 inside. So I typically start from the top and go counterclockwise. Puzzle solved. If you spam X here when you're opening the door, you can get that cutscene and puzzle to happen multiple times. If so, you want to solve it once and then just back out every other time. Don't panic. As long as you solve it that first time, you just back out and we're good. So now we're in at the Underground Ruins, what should be the 4th dungeon of the game. We've completed 1 dungeon and kind of entered a 2nd. And you might notice, hey, there's a 4th party member in the party in that cutscene. We don't get Ozma. He's not needed for the run. And you might also be asking, I'm saying this such a weird way, I'm sorry. Hey, how do you get underwater? So another skip. There's 2 ways to do this. The fast way is from up here. You jump and just slide in. You can only do that on the first one. The second way works on the first one as well. But here you want to use a dwarf bracelet so you're small and play a memory. This will reset your position, which causes you to fall into the water. Which then you just swim in, because you fall a little bit, just low enough that you can get in. Then you use the dwarf bracelet once you're in the alcove, so you're no longer small. And swim in. So that is how you do the underwater ports of the Underground Ruins. More just rolling, switch to Karna to do this. No more tricks until the boss. So for now, it's just good movement. Good vibes with the music. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Quick menuing to bring up the dwarf bracelet as you go through the small areas. And these 2 tunnels are the only reason we needed the dwarf bracelet. Because you can do the underwater stuff as well by playing the memory menu multiple times. But we did all that to get the dwarf bracelet to go through these 2 tunnels. And there we go. We are more or less through the Underground Ruins. Now we're going to come up here. And we don't want to fight this boss. So there's 2 things that are going to be happening here. First, we're going to skip the boss. Again, safety save. You want the cutscene trigger is about here, if I'm correct. Not cutscene trigger, the boss trigger. It's not quite at the top of the step, but it's not on the second one. I think it's about here. I could be misremembering. They're pretty wide, so it's not huge. You want to do your roll and swap to get Durin onto the boss trigger. Swap to him. Play a memory. Open the map twice. I didn't actually hit it. So what happened there is I pressed my swap as Adol. So it is actually like on the top of the step. Again, this is just playing it, doing the tutorial by kind of ear. If I show mistakes, I show mistakes. That's actually fine. There we go. And now this one, you have a little bit less time. And the sort of backstepping is the same concept as rolling. There's a rhythm to it. You just, it's weird because Durin's looking at the boss. You want to make sure you get through the door before that ends, and this cutscene will play. Now, we've skipped the boss, but we want to do another trick with the boss. Because we want to, how do I explain this? We are setting up. There's two things. We're going to play a cutscene that skips us to the next town instead of having to move there. And we are going to set up being in a boss while not being in the boss. Can't wait to see what lies ahead. If you leave a boss through means other than killing it or dying, the game sets a flag, effectively. Again, I don't know the exact technical. And if that flag is set and you go into any area that has a forced encounter or boss, the boss will start, whether the game was in a state to start it or not. So, on this tombstone that reads, "Here lies Adult Christian," you do our multiple keybinds, open the map twice, go into the boss, exit, leave, and play this cutscene. Play this cutscene. We are now warped to Highland. Now, we can't leave without text storaging again, so same thing. Keybind, open the map twice. That's actually, I forgot that I had not called it text storage. And you want to make sure you hold the text storage while you leave and until you're out of Highland, because the fight that we want to happen is here, and it will happen if I let go of the text, but we are extremely underprepared for it. We have not done any combat. We have, you know, a level 4 character, a level 1, and a level 3 with more or less no equipment. So we're gonna get Calilica, the next party member. Make sure you hit this, because we will be warping back. I am noticing that I am bouncing between saying, we will do this, you should do this, I do this, and that's fine. I also realized that during this whole section of the tutorial, I have had my mouse on screen, and I am sorry for that. I had it on screen for the, you know, the puzzle, because it is quicker to do that with the mouse. And for now, you just roll up here. Cutscenes play as normally. The game is not in a weird state. And you want to have that camp happen. Come up here. Get struck by lightning so you die. Which, this is just the normal gameplay. Calilica joins. Now, I want to walk back. Taking a sip of water. The Highland fight. I want to switch Karna out for Calilica. Because we want Adol and Durin to get the experience for this. Before I sort of go into this, I really want to preface, this is probably my weakest point in the speedrun. This fight tends to be a bit of a mess. So, that. On top of that, there is a little bit of a route change. There's sort of two things you can do here. Right now, it is night. And this fight is affected by the day-night cycle. It is harder and gives more experience at night. I personally, despite just saying it's probably the weakest part of the run for me, do this fight at night. If you go in and die and restart, the fight will be during the day. So it'll be easier and give less experience. It's more or less it's just a route thing. If you do this fight at night, it's harder, you get more experience, which makes the next boss easier and quicker. And if you do it during the day, it is easier, but will make the next boss harder. I actually don't remember what the world record does at the time of recording this. And I could not tell you which is actually faster, because it's which fight is harder. You also have to take the time to die, which isn't that, to get the easier fight. You might be able to go into a menu and restart fight. I'm not 100% sure. So with that, I'm going to make a safety save. And the first thing you're going to want to do is flash guard once the fight starts. Flash guard the attack and extra skill. I did not hit all 4 of them with the full thing, but that is. So now you want to get as many flash guards and flash moves as you go, and use Calilica's big hit and Thunder Sphere to build meter. I'm not really giving definitive, which is better, because I've seen different runners use different abilities. And this is not a good fight. I want that to be clear. This is very dangerous. I hope I still had the damage buff. I didn't. So once you build the meter back up, you want to make sure you get a flash guard to have the damage buff, and then finish. I'm going to use a safety potion and kind of play this really safe. But in general, you know, normal attacks build your SP. I never actually went over this. Your normal attacks build SP. Using SP abilities builds the extra skill. So what you want to do is make sure you build the extra skill to finish them off. Again, I didn't hit 2 of them with it, which is a problem. From what I've seen, Gravity Sphere is safe and builds pretty good meter, but damage is bad. Power Swing does a lot more damage and is much more useful for actually just finishing the fight. And it's what the world record uses. But it's not safe and you have to be really careful. So, not a great fight. And that's fine. I was mostly trying to show and tutorialize. Definitely better to, again, tutorial. If you really want to see how that fight goes, watch other people's PBs. Probably not mine. Gotta be completely honest. That is just preferencing that. So anyway, now that we've done that, we have the Golden Wing. I never really mentioned it before because I was just going through the route. But when we were warping, you could only warp from a statue to another statue of the same color. Now, we can warp from anywhere by bringing up the menu. I have that bound to share on the PS4 controller. And just selecting any sanctuary. Not sanctuary. Any of these checkpoints. I forgot what they're actually called. Now, we have another trick. We want that boss state again. We want to be in that boss state for later. So we're going to go back to the ancient burrow to our good friend the bee. And do the same sort of trick here, where we switch, go into the memory, and open the map twice. But this time, because we're not skipping the boss, we are specifically getting into a state, we are going to warp and go north from where we got Calilica. So, I already have Durin in the right position. Play the memory. Open the map twice. Open the map. Go to Sanctuary Perch Mid. We are on a timer here because we want to hit the cutscene will, and that was really good. We want to be on this screen when it fades to black for the boss, which will start the boss, but then also play the cutscene. So now we are on this screen. Boss music is playing. That's how we know the trick worked. The game thinks we're in a boss fight, so it has that fight set, but we're not in a boss fight. The lightning on the screen is also gone, as we did the fight in Highland, the town, so you don't have to do anything here. So this is now just movement. Up until we sort of get to the camp where we get to our next skip. This is all just going to be movement. Only thing I want to note at this point, before I mute and take a sip of water while I do this, is a lot of this is downhill, and that affects the roll timing. You need to... You can see me messing it up. You need to account for that, and I am not doing a great job at the moment. So I'm going to mute, take a sip of water, until we get to the mountain camp, where I will explain the next part. Okay. You want to make sure you hit that camp because it affects your position in the story.
My turn.
So now, we have the hardest skip in the run. Coral Skip. We're going to be using a multitude. We're going to use 2 different tricks. First is spelunking. I'm just going to show this off without doing it correctly. So if you're in a body of water, and you switch to a different character, it still stores that character's position and that they were... I think it might just be position. So I'm just going to come up here, switch back to Durin, and I'm going to fall through the floor. Because he was still at that Z position, I think. I don't know. Or Y position. I'm not sure which is correct for 3D games. So you fall through the floor. So we're going to use that. Our goal is to hit a loading zone just at this coral. You can see it on the map there. So we are going to switch, do spelunking. There's kind of a corner here that I like to line up with. And switch. Now, as soon as the menu opens, I'm going to roll northwest or up left. And then bring up the menu. So now, we have made sort of a jump. We're out of bounds. And that, we're out of bounds. I'm trying to explain this. But we want to hit a loading zone that is still up and to the left. Now, if you remember very early, when you load a memory, play a memory, it moves, it resets the position so the character in the second slot is in top left. of where your character in the top playable position is. If we're playing as Durin, we reset, where we play a memory, it will move Calilica up and to the left of where Durin is, even though that's not on the ground. Also, at this point, we've had Sacred Beasts memory. It is a shorter cutscene than Am I a Swordsman? This one is faster to use. I haven't been using it while explaining the other stuff, but we're going to be doing this a lot. So now, if I were to unpause, don't want to make a safety save in case I've messed this up. Because it's very easy. This is a very easy trick. Calilica is up and to the left of where Durin is. So if Durin is here, let's stay on the screen, Calilica is up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch. So now we're playing as Calilica. Calilica is up to the left. Durin is here. And we play the memory again. We've now changed it so Calilica's in the middle and Durin is in the top left. The effect of this, switching character, playing a memory, and switching, is slowly moving us up and to the left. Now, I haven't been counting. The optimal amount of times to do this is 11. If you now do the swap 11 times, you will be able to close the menu, move to the upper left, and fall right into the loading zone. Often in PBs I go for 12. You just do the little safety extra one. And this is hard to explain actually, because like this is the trick. I'm literally inchworming up and to the left, like leapfrogging the two characters. I don't know how many times I've done it. I'm gonna do it a couple more times, and then I'm going to load and show it again. So perfect. I did it more times than needed. I hit the loading zone perfectly. Ideally you actually want to fall a little bit before, because then you've menued less. So one more time from the top. Durin, switch to Karna, the inactive party member. Find this little crease, swap back, roll up and to the left as soon as it starts. That might have been awkward. And do this swap thing 11-ish times, at least 11. Just the way the geometry works, if you do it too much, you actually, like, the loading zone works as a wall. And this is, I'm not counted. I normally count out loud while I'm doing this, because frankly, trying to talk and do this trick is very hard actually, because it's just hard menuing. This is also where I would say, maybe I should have said this in the sort of at the start. You might want a controller with a good D-pad, because doing this with a good D-pad, I've done this plenty, I think. Yes. If you hit this black screen like this, that means you've hit the loading zone. I'm just doing a memory because sometimes when you hit a loading zone like that, it's weird. But yeah, that screen went black because I fully hit the loading zone. At that point, you can probably just close the menu. I still did the one extra swap. But there you go. There's Coral Skip, shown twice. Once slow, once quick-ish, but too many swaps. And now we move on. Now this section, there's this sort of swamp water. This swamp water is weird because you don't roll, you do this little hop. This is faster. You have to press the roll button quicker, but it's actually faster than being in on land and rolling. So at this point, I just kind of glazed over it, but you want to go kind of up and to the right to hit this warp, and then we're going to go back. Now we're going to go left. We are going over to the Forest of Spores area, doing same rolling, same good movement, but with the addition of when you were in the swamp water, you want to roll. You want to press the button quicker. Now, I brought up at the start, you want a roll button that is independent of accept or deny. Because this whole time, I've been hiding the dialogue, right? Now, for this, you can't hide the dialogue. So I'm going to use the mouse because I have left click bound to roll and nothing else. So you do the same thing, you talk and open the menu on the same frame. Go to the map. This will bring up this menu instead of dialogue. Look back, map, back, back. Again, I'm doing this with mouse because that's my keybinds. But you can do it if you have different keybinds, that's fine. So I am now moving with the left stick and rolling with left click because that's my keybind. It's weird, and I had to unbind left click to be accept, but that is how it is. So now you come up here with this text open, hit this warp, leave, kind of go just down here. I might have gone too far, and hit cancel. Now what this just did is there's a cutscene trigger for a side quest that we haven't done. We haven't picked up. This completes the side quest. We get the reward, which is money, and warps us right here. Right to the store. If I were to leave, it would kind of just play the you've just entered the town for the first time. But now we are in a store and have a bunch of money. As has been sort of the case, we have been very unequipped this whole run. We got a bunch of experience for the Highland fight, but Durin and Adol still have their default weapons. So, we just got a bunch of money and we're warped to a store. We are going to buy the Soul Biter for Adol. It is the first weapon on the list, so you can just spam. Equip it. And the Benial Claw, the Lionel Claw for Durin. More than doubling each of their attacks. And that was the entire point of that. We wanted to get that warp for the Forest of Spores. We wanted the money, which is what completing the quest did. And we want to buy this. So now we warp back here. And when we set up the boss fight with the bee about 10 minutes ago, it's so... I'm going to move my mouse off the screen. It's so now when we go up to the frog or the kappa, that boss will happen. If we didn't do that, the boss here wouldn't happen. So you want to come up. And one other thing, I mentioned at the very start, the damage types don't really matter except for that tutorial and right now. Because all bosses don't have damage weaknesses, but these small frogs are weak to slash. The other thing, since I just mentioned this, we are running with Aldovoss and Calilica because 2 of them share a damage type, and if you are running 2 characters with the same damage type, you get increased damage. I think it's 10%. I could be wrong on that. And if you're running 3 characters with different damage types, you get more drops or better drops. We want the increased damage. So that is the thought process behind Aldovoss and Calilica. Just wanted to bring that up. Then we come up here, we kill these 2 frogs. Go up to the puzzle, and we solve the puzzle. Gonna do it with the mouse again. It's top, third, bottom. Just very quickly solve it. Now, the frog. There's a couple things going on in this fight. So, I'm gonna go for a trick. And if I don't get it, I might try again. But, an important thing to know during this fight is we have done so little combat, you are going to be learning skills. And your party members are going to be learning new skills. Whenever a character learns a skill, they use it automatically. Whenever a party member, not you, learns a skill, you get maxed out SP. I don't know why this is, but it is. So you want party members that are killing ads to learn skills. Now, the other thing is this boss acts a little weird. So, I safety save. We're gonna start with Calilica. Adol is our main damage dealer at this point. Want to make sure I'm on attack focus. Gonna start with Calilica, roll up to the boss, and use the extra skill. Switch to Adol and kill the ads while Calilica's doing the attack. And it hit the boss. If this is done right, I need to make sure the time doesn't pass. This will freeze the boss until, because characters will learn skills as the ads die. This will freeze the boss until you stop spamming, basically. I'm going to try to show this off. If it doesn't work, I might reload and try again. Afterwards, the fight itself is a little bit of a mess. Same sort of deal where you want to be flash guarding its attacks and dealing damage. You want to be, if possible, hitting ads and the boss at the same time, because Adol will be doing more damage. And the tongue attack is the main thing to look out for. Because if you flash guard, you can still get hit by it on the way back, and it puts a character out of commission for a while. But it's mostly, it's a little bit of a mess. This is also the fight that is harder if you did the Highland fight on easy. So we're gonna try the trick. So start the fight, roll, switch to Adol. Gonna pull the boss or the enemies in. People are gonna learn a bunch of skills as they're dying. And there we go. Because all the ads died and a bunch of skills were learned, the boss is frozen until I run out of SP and stop hitting it. And there we go. I got most of the fight done while it was frozen. Ads aren't spawning because like time was stopped. I wanted to flash guard that kick, but overall, other than getting kicked that one time, that was a very good fight and a very good demonstration of the freezing. Now, I actually didn't learn this until like just before I was doing the tutorial. You can skip the cutscene for getting the Beastkin Claws, the item in this chest, which is why we did this, by opening this with the keybind that has accept and map, and not map, accept and menu. Opening the map twice, and if we find the warp, you get the item, and you skip the tutorial. So now, we have the Beast King Claws, we can get through the Forest of Spores. Because I've done this, it's actually night now, which is weird looking because it's normally day during the run. There, but now, Beast King Claws, just like rolling, characters move at different speeds with it. You move slightly faster than rolling, and Adol is actually the fastest character at this point. So we're going to be using him for movement. Rhythm is about the same. It might be exactly the same. And there's not much to this. We're just rolling through the area. This swamp water, because we're using Beast King Claws, we don't roll. If you want to be absolutely optimal, you can unequip them to dash through this water and then re-equip them. It saves about 1 second, and it, I honestly just lose time on them anyway. So, almost at the end. This is allegedly 2 hours because of the way it tracks. You want to make sure you hit this. We need this warp. Gotta make a safety save. We're gonna do the same thing we've been doing to skip other bosses, where we have our 2 keybind of roll and swap. Open the map twice. Just move out. This is the same as the bee, same as the centaur. And now we've skipped the Mustrum, which is just the guy who just is there. It's kind of weird. I'm going into streamer mode and not tutorial mode. I'm sorry. Now, just do some quick movement until we get this warp. Now here things are gonna get a little fucky. I don't really know how to explain this or exactly how this works. So you hit this warp back to Mustrum. Now a lot is gonna happen. I'm gonna try to explain it as I go. I might have to do this trick twice, and I might mess it up. But this was the big skip of the current 90% route. This was our barrier skip. We are going to skip directly into the final dungeon, and so much so that we're actually going to skip to the end of the final dungeon. Hey, helps if you press the button. So same thing. We want the boss state. Map twice. Okay. Warp up here. Now we're going to switch to Durin because he rolls faster. Because as we're up here, we have to roll. Because the boss is spawning, none of the sort of cutscene stuff happens. We roll up here and open the map. I'm going to use the mouse for this. Wait for the text to pop up. Close. Open the map. Wait till you hear... I don't know if you have to wait, but you'll hear dialogue. Open the map twice. Yeah, okay. The cutscene is playing, and we are walking during it. Now, we just want to skip through all this. Main important thing, we can walk anywhere, but Adol needs to be sort of at this center spot, almost exactly where he is open, where he's standing. Because during this cutscene, I'm just skipping text again, Adol needs to open this door. It is required that he stands in a specific spot and opens the door. Right here. And as soon as the door opens, there we go. I'm gonna actually be Calilica. As soon as the door opens, you roll through. You need to get to about halfway through this room. You'll fall through the floor, and if you've done everything right, this cutscene will spawn that happens after you beat the final dungeon and starts the end game. This will start this fight. We got through the door that requires multiple dungeons, like 3 dungeons from this point. This fight will start, and we're gonna do this fight. Kind of just a clusterfuck, just kill them. If you have extra skill at this point, you can use Calilica's extra skill to pull them all in and do a bunch of damage. I didn't, so I can't show it off. And I don't have it. I have it now. I didn't have it because the frog fight went so well. If that fight kind of goes off the rails and you... I have my mouse on the screen again. If that fight goes off the rails, you kill a bunch of the frogs, you'll have more extra skill. But now we just skip this cutscene, and we are now in the end game. So, at this point, game's a little very, very confused, but we need to run up this volcano. We have the beastskin claws. You want to stay on the inside track as much as possible. I believe if you stay completely on the inside track, you can make it. And the other word of warning is the enemies here hit like trucks. Anything doing any damage is very, very bad. But this is just a straight shot to the end of the game at this point. No more tricks, just this movement and the final boss. If you've played this game casually, you'll understand how absurd that skip I just did was. If not, just understand it's absurd. Okay, I was wrong. I could not stay on the inside track, so you need to watch out for that fire. Because we have the beastskin claws equipped, we can break all these boulders, so they're really not an issue. And it's really just, if the fire's spewing or about to spew, maybe go down. If it's not spewing or about to stop, you can go. And now we're at the final boss. Final boss. Scales to your level, but not quite equipment. We're good. We're good for this fight. It's mostly straightforward. You just want to, again, good combat. Flash guard, flash move. When he does his extra skill, we want to be behind him, because that will skip the full animation. Also, Lisa is here because of all the nonsense we've done. She will heal you. So this fight is very safe. The one big concern is, for some reason, sometimes he can aggro her. You can fast forward this, I'm just explaining. If he aggroes her, this fight gets kind of scary, because it makes it a lot harder to get the flash guards and flash moves you need to do good damage. So, because I have extra, I'm going to get one flash guard and immediately extra skill. You'll see me doing 1, 2, 3, and then flash. I didn't get the flash guard there. It's not great. And ideally you want simul flash. You want to get the flash guard and then flash move. And that is the worst attack. There's a lot of RNG in this fight, just depending on what attacks he does. The jump and slam is the worst case. The try this, no escape, because despite getting the flash guard, I still get hit the second time I have the flash guard again. So here we go. I want to block that and move behind him. I did not move behind him. So that's what happens when you don't. It's very safe, but it is very slow. This is a little bit not going great. Getting bad RNG, having issue with flash guarding. I am sorry, this is not the greatest way to end a tutorial. And also, I've showed off, he's aggroed on her, which makes it very hard to get the flash guards, but I got that one anyway. Okay, hopefully I can get this again. No, he's aggroed on her, so I can't get the cancel. I'm sorry that this, of all parts, has been kind of a disaster. I hate to say refer to PV videos, but this might be a case where I want to. I am waiting to get a flash guard, and then I'm going to use the extra skill, but he's not attacking. And at this point, he might be he's just going to die. I waited too long. I'm not going to upload from there. I wanted to see if I saved right before. I didn't. Not the best fight. And after that, it's just walk up to the end of the game, press inspect. Now, timing ends when the screen flashes to white during this cutscene after Elduke, the angel kind of guy. Not that. On this flash to white. That is time. And there we go. That is a sort of one-shot tutorial for East Memories of Celceta, any % easy. At this point, you could save and you could do use this file for New Game Plus, but time is on that end, and I hope I covered everything. If I didn't, I'm going to be uploading this to YouTube. Feel free to reach out. Discord is probably the best place. There is a speedrunning Discord. I will be happy to help. Most people there will be happy to help. And again, I just figured I'd make a tutorial. This was kind of off the cuff and not super planned. I hope I didn't forget anything important. And thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy running the game if you're watching this to learn the run.